James Charles just came for Jeffree Star? No way. Okay, let's talk about it. This is a lot to talk about. So, yes, Jeffree Star is shook right now, and apparently he might respond. So, lock in right here. Here we go. I'm working on the receipts because apparently he said some words back to James, and you know how all the receipts, but I'm going to make you wait for that. So, you got to wait for the end of the video. You got to wait for the next video for that tea, girl. All right, hold on. Half a glass. See, look, see, it's a glass. Half a glass. You gotta wait for that tea in the next video. Okay, let's talk about this. James Charles uploaded a video where he was talking about controversial new makeup releases. In the video, he talks about the $150, $180 Louis Vuitton makeup. James Charles buys the palettes, he buys the lippies, and James Charles says that out of all the influencers that he's seen, that everyone's given it a positive review because they were sent the PR. Now, Jeffree Star had the PR box in his video and gave it a positive review, and we know their history, right? Well, then James Charles said this about how it's funny how all the influencers got PR and they love it so much, but I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna give it a real review. And I was thinking, like, wait a minute. This is what people have been calling out Jeffree Star for the last couple of days, is the fact that he gave Louis Vuitton such a positive review. But if it was anybody else, he would have just been a little bit more thorough, maybe a little bit more harsh. That's the word. A little bit more harsher. Was like, you know what I'm saying? James Charles was clocking stuff that I saw no one else talk about.
Little eyeshadow palette, believe it or not, is an eyeshadow palette, okay? It fits in my hand. $250 for 4 shades. Obviously, that price tag and everything about this launch has been very controversial. However, if you look online, there's not been one negative thing said about this brand as of yet because every influencer got it in PR. Well, I didn't. I went to the Louis Vuitton store in New York City when I was there a couple of days ago and spent $800 on this 4-color eyeshadow palette, 2 lipsticks, and 1 lip balm. $800 on 4 beauty products, but I'm gonna give you guys the real tea. Now, with this whole launch, obviously there are quite a lot of differing opinions. The price is obviously the biggest discussion. Now, before I say anything at all, okay, $250 is fucking crazy. There is no eyeshadow palette, no packaging, no formula on planet Earth, unless it literally had like crushed diamonds in a glitter formula that is actually worth $250. It is 100% a scam. However, if you really think about it, all luxury shopping is a scam. You can go to Marshall's and buy a perfectly great purse for 20 bucks off the clearance rack, but at Louis Vuitton, when you're walking in, it's gonna cost you minimum $1,000, right? As a consumer, you get to choose if you want to spend your hard-earned money on that luxury purchase, whether it's a $20 purse from Marshall's or a $1,000 one from Louis Vuitton, it's gonna serve the same exact purpose of going over your shoulder and carrying your important items wherever you're going, right? So yes, the price tag is absurd, but it's also proportional when it comes to luxury shopping versus not. I've seen people talking about, well,
Louis Vuitton lipsticks are $160, but Hermes sells their lipsticks for $80, and Birkins are way more expensive than the Louis Vuitton bag.
That is true. The one thing I will give Louis Vuitton credit for is this packaging is unreal. It is very, very beautiful. Every detail was fully thought of. The gold LV monogram on the front, the other emblems are embossed into the matte black packaging. On the back, it is engraved with Louis Vuitton Paris. Also, when you open it up, it's full metal on the inside. The LV logo is embossed into the gold. And what's really cool about these products is that they are fully refillable. There's a little switch on the back here that when you pop it up, this comes up and you can switch out the shades on the inside for $92. For 4 colors, 23 bucks a pop instead of the 250. So when you think about it, this outer metal shell is kind of like a carrying case for the eyeshadows as opposed to the actual palette. The price is still fucking ridiculous, let me be clear, but at least it does help justify it. If you ran out of it, you could fill it up again for a lot cheaper and have the carrying case forever. The reason I bring up the comparison to Hermes though is because everyone's talking about the kind of like quality of the packaging. Hermes, yes, is cheaper at $80 $200 instead of $160 for the lipsticks. However, it's plastic. It is very cheap material that probably cost them about $2 to maybe $3 on the high end per lipstick. So they are making a massive profit and really scamming the customer. Where I will give Louis Vuitton credit is obviously they are a very loved luxury brand. They could have released the same shit quality plastic packaging for the same price tag, and unfortunately, it would have sold out, but they didn't. They're using higher quality material. If this is Louis Vuitton's entry into the beauty community, at least they are scamming less than some of the other luxury brands doing the same thing. Does that make sense? All of that aside, I unfortunately paid $250 for this, whether I like it or not, so let's put on some eyeshadow. So these are the 4 colors we have to choose from today. Not a whole lot of options when it comes to the makeup look, but it's okay. We're gonna see what we can do. They did launch 8 different palette color combinations. I chose Waking Dawn just because I felt like it was the most neutral. So they weren't afraid of some color.
Okay, so I just thought that was interesting when all that happened with that. Now, I do find it interesting that Louis Vuitton had like a plastic cap when James said it could have been, you know, a better material. I agree with that. I also do agree with James Charles that the price points were a little high, but it is a luxury brand, and that's what you were paying for. The name
just launched $250 eyeshadow palettes, and if that wasn't enough, $160 lipsticks. And if you're like, girl, yeah, we saw the PR packages, where's yours? Well, when I saw that Pat McGrath is the creative director, I now suddenly understand why my PR package was imaginary. Someone was very rude to me in my face once, and then I decided to unstand. Goodbye. I did not get PR. I did, however, get PTSD from these prices. My invoice was $1,140. But hey, PR or no PR, I couldn't care less. But what I do care about is a $250 eyeshadow palette. What in the shareholder levels are these? Who is this for? So yeah, of course, we're trying it. Let's start building some definition on the inner... Hello? Hello, for $250? Not even pigment was included. I tried another palette from the launch for my tube channel, and that, although boring, at least had pigment. I am appalled at how much I have to work this in for some sort of color. What? Watch. Shocking. Okay, picking up that darker shade. With prices like this, it doesn't even feel like makeup. It feels more like a dare. Like, who dares to buy this? I did. Now we're doing the lid color. This better be good. You're kidding me. They shouldn't have called this Louis Vuitton beauty. They should have called this a whisper of beauty, a whisper of pigment. My final hope is in this lightest shade. Come on. I know you got something in you. It's something. Usually I would laugh at this and call it like a 3 out of 10, but in these conditions, maybe a 6? I don't know. This has got to be the most boring, lackluster eye I've done in months. $250 for this? For this? You know what? I'm skipping lipstick. I'm saving that for another.
So I'm not going to hold it up. Like, that's not going to be a deciding factor. You know what you're getting into when you're buying that brand. They have already drew their line in the sand that they have luxury makeup. And so when this came out, I was like, you know, if you don't want to spend $180, $280, $240, $300 on a makeup, then just don't shop Louis Vuitton. There are other brands you can do. James Charles was very unimpressed with the makeup. But I will say this, biased aside, James Charles has never been a Louis Vuitton girl. James Charles has never been the type of person to wear labels and prints. If you've been following James Charles, he doesn't like that. He's like the totally opposite of Jeffree when it comes to fashion. James Charles very much would wear like a black t-shirt with a small little logo and it'd be a $500 shirt. James Charles does that. So when this came out, I already kind of knew that James Charles was going to just kind of look down on the whole entire thing because he's never been like a logo in your face, logo-rama, logo-mania type person. He kind of steers more toward quiet luxury. But being that he's in the luxury world, he doesn't even like partake in luxury makeup because he knows how much it costs. He knows that, I don't know, like something like this that sells for like $400, $200 or $300 or $400 at the Saks Fifth Avenue costs pennies on the dollar. And so he knows that. And so it kind of takes the fun out of like, oh, I really like it. And I think that's what James Charles is missing in his whole video, is that if you really are a fan of Louis Vuitton, the brand, then you would naturally be a fan of the makeup. You would like that too. James Charles, I feel like, had a little bit of bias because he's not a big fan of Louis Vuitton, where you have Jeffree Star, who has bought mostly every collection, owns every piece. He knows things by name, invited to Paris fashion shows. He knows that. Jeffree knows that. So when the makeup came out, I kind of expected Jeffree Star to review it favorably. I wish Jeffree Star would have been like, bias aside, I love Louis Vuitton. So, there's some bias there, but let me see if I can find any discrepancies in it. Jeffree Star's whole video was positive. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a YouTube video with the whole video in it already. So, Jeffree Star's video was well received. It was positive, but it wasn't without people's criticism that they felt like it was too, in favor of Louis Vuitton. So if you guys missed it, I'll play the video here for you so we can all get caught up.
I'm sure you've seen the Louis Vuitton makeup line. It's been revealed. There's reviews everywhere. I think we saved the best review for last. This truly feels like Christmas. I have been waiting for Louis Vuitton to make makeup for so long. Probably the heaviest PR box I've ever felt in my life. Here she is in all her glory. Oh my God. In case you've been sleeping under a rock, the one and only Louis Vuitton, the luxury brand of the planet, the epitome of designer. Well, baby, they teamed up with the one and only Pat McGrath, the legend, the icon, and they finally have makeup. If you didn't know, I am the only person in the history of Louis Vuitton where they have made a customer their own custom Louis Vuitton print. To say that this launch is highly anticipated for me, I don't even know how to say words. Let's get into the review. First impressions right now. It is heavy. We all know I am a very, very stickler for packaging, and baby, this is beautiful. Here's the close-up. This is a magnetic closure. It is really heavy, but look at the innovation. Look at the bullet formula. It looks like velvet. Packaging is absolutely stunning and such a classic already. I know that packaging is subjective, but I think that it's really beautiful and classic. I don't know if everyone was expecting it to be brown monogram print, but baby, this is makeup, honey. House Louis Vuitton has chosen to launch 55 lipsticks, and there is a bunch of lip balms. These both retail for $160. Now, I know a lot of you have been scoffing at the price point. Baby, this is luxury. This is an experience. This is Louis Vuitton, and it's not for everybody. I love that they said, Hermes, sit down with your little $81 lipstick. We are going to have the most expensive lipstick on the market. Before we try everything, look at the eyeshadow palette. This feels like a brick. It is so heavy. Now this is a refillable compact. Let's open her up. Packaging is so exponential. Look at that. Woo! Lipsticks are refillable. Now normally I would be rolling my eyes at that because a lot of the times the packaging feels cheap. Oh no, baby. This is so expensive. The magnets, the metal, baby, they really did their big one. There's two different formulas. There is the LV Rouge Matte and an LV Rouge Satin. Let's try them right now. Okay, I brought you guys a little bit closer. Now this has 3.5 grams of product in it. It's made in France, and this is the satin formula. I say we just go in right now. We'll try the red with the lip liner, but look at this. This is shade Monogram Rouge. Let's give our first impressions. That immediate rich payoff. Thank you, Jesus. Application super easy. It went on like a dream. Now, it's giving this aura of luxury and raspberry and a little hint of mint. With our Louis Vuitton straw and our Red Bull, let's give it a little drink test. A little bit came off, but it looks flawless. I lined my lips with the Jeffree Star Red Rum Velour Lip Liner. Now let's go in with the matte formula in shade Rouge Louis. Look at that one swipe pigment. Wow. Super matte, but very comfortable. Didn't get on my teeth, and it's so beautiful. For $250, Louis Vuitton said, hello, good morning. 1 matte, 3 satin metallics. Let's see if they actually work, because that's the big question. For such a high price point, does it really work? Launching makeup brushes in November. Let's give this a swirl. Now we're gonna go in with the darkest shade, of course, and I'm just gonna tuck this right here. Oh! There's payoff immediately. a lot. I'm gonna go in with this beautiful bronze tone right here and pop it right there. This shadow is more of a bronzy satin metallic, and it is really pretty. Blending into the other color effortlessly. Hi. Took that little dark plum color and I connected it. Now let's go into this beautiful sparkly metallic burgundy. Now we're just gonna buff it lightly right under the waterline and go into the darker color. To utilize all the shades, this is a beautiful finisher for right in the inner corner. Let's finish the eye with a little F-proof mascara from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. We've tried and tested Louis Vuitton's first ever beauty launch. Let's get into our final thoughts. This was the most highly anticipated review of the summer, and Louis Vuitton did not disappoint. Huge congratulations to Pat McGrath for slaying the beauty line for Louis. This is such a beautiful experience. I know the price point may not be for everybody, and that's okay, but if you can, snap up a piece of luxury. This is more than makeup. This is an experience, and the House of Louis really came correct. Now imagine a Louis Vuitton setting spray, concealer, foundation. I cannot wait to see what they do next. Lipstick formula, beautiful, velvety, and flawless. Eyeshadows blended out like a dream, but not too much. The Louis Vuitton Beauty lipsticks and eyeshadows are...
I just came across that, like James Charles was shading Jeffree Star. Let me show you that receipt. Here we go, roll it. All right, so the other day we talked about Tati Westbrook coming out with makeup brushes, right? She came out with these, where are they at? These brushes like these. Well, I did a whole podcast about it. I should drop tomorrow where we're talking more in depth about the makeup brushes and just like, if you're into the podcast episodes of Rich Luck, we have one coming tomorrow. So it's like a lot of talking and it's not so much all this, just talking with the little video or photo on it. Anyways, so be on the lookout for that because we have a lot to talk about with the Tati brushes. I'm just, when it comes to the James Jeffree situation, it really bothers me that Jeffree Star abandoned somewhat YouTube. In the sense that like, Jeffree Star put out a 5-minute video reviewing Louis Vuitton makeup. I don't understand why Jeffree Star didn't also double back and do a YouTube video reviewing the Louis Vuitton makeup. Only, not for clicks and views, not for the money he would get from the video, from the monetization aspect, but purely for the simple fact of like, there are like over 10 million fans that still subscribe to Jeffree that still live on YouTube. It's like you abandon your audience, right? And I think a lot of people would have loved to see that video of Jeffree Star reviewing the makeup here on YouTube, a detailed review. That would have been fun. But I don't know why Jeffree Star just ultimately decided to just leave YouTube. If you guys know, leave it in the comment section down below. But damn it, I wish he would have did a dedicated review on YouTube about Louis Vuitton makeup. That would have been everything. Granted, the views aren't the same. His audience has grown. We get the gig. I understand that 100%. But people still would have liked to watch it. That's all. That's all I'm trying, not being a hater. You know, I like Jeffree Star, but I'm also allowed to criticize at the same time. And my criticism is, he should have stayed on YouTube and do TikTok. He could have did both. But like, do short form content and long form content and navigate that journey. I recently bought this palette. I got the Gold Blooded palette. Here it is. Look at that. And my favorite shade in this whole entire palette, I can already tell you because I swatched a majority of them. My favorite shade is going to be Vincent Van Gogh. This Vincent Van Gogh compared to the other shimmers feels different. It has like a different shimmer, a different pearl, and I like this. I would buy this individually. This shade make the whole palette worth it, and of course these two, you know, because you need to lay those down to make, you know, other colors pop and stuff like that. But anyways, love. This was on sale in the Tiki Taki shop, and then also I got these lashes. Look, and they have little bling bling in it. And if you guys want these, follow me on TikTok Live because we'll have a sale. We'll have these lashes for $5 on TikTok Live. So you guys can join me whenever you see me pop up over there. Ask about the lashes. But look, they have like these little crystals, little Swarovski looking crystals in there. Oh, it caught the light. I love it. Anyways, so I know some of you are going to say I'm reaching for the teen drama. No, I think that was directed toward Jeffree Star. In my opinion. So let me know what you think about that. We have so much new makeup to talk about. I want to give a honorable mention to the brand Hard Candy. Hard Candy sent over all their new primers. They have a gripping primer. Same packaging, just different colors. A smoothing primer. A sweat-proof primer. They also have a matte primer. I'm like, damn. They got primers for everything. And there's more. They're just sitting up here. So I want to do a video unboxing of all the PR I got. Because I got in quite a few. I let it build up for a while. But anyways, let me know what you think about that drama in the comment section down below. This is Rich Life with the hottest celebrity news and gossip on YouTube. Mwah.